Hello everyone. So we are going to start a new presentation on the topic of organization of mammalian genome. So in this particular presentation we are going to deal with the idea of the composition of human genome, or you can say mammalian genome, the basic steps, the mode of condensation, or you can say the structural attitude towards the whole genome concept we are going to cover in this particular presentation. So how this genetic makeup of a human being, it is made up, or it is constructed. So all these things will be discussed in this particular presentation. So before going to the presentation, let's have some background actually. So first of all, you know that the nucleus, it is the smallest part in the cell, right? The size of the nucleus, it is very less. It is almost about 6 micrometer in diameter. So you can just assume what is the size of the nucleus, right? Apart from that, in the eukaryotes means in the eukaryotes like a human being, the DNA, it always remains in the highly condensed form and during the cell division, such as the chromosome, right? So this condensed form of DNA, how it is actually composed, we are going to discuss it. Moreover, you see 3.2 into 10 to the power 9. I am showing you 10. This is 10 to the power 9. I am showing you in different color. It is not, as it is not possible to write here to the power. That is the superscript form. So it's 3.2 into 10 to the power 9 nucleotide. They are packed into 24 different chromosomes. So see how they are so tightly packed within this chromosome. And then, moreover, you should know that the disentanglement means disentanglement means the dissociation, or you can say the breakage, the disentanglement time or you can say the time for transition from the interphase to the metaphase of the chromosome of 100 MB size is in order of around 500 years. So if we start separating, or you can say disentanglement, so you will need around 500 years. So how this highly packed structure is formed? So first of all, let's see the chemical composition of the chromatin. So if we see the chemical composition of the chromatin, it is made up of 20 to 40% of the DNA, right? And it is the most important constituent of the chromatin. Moreover, apart from DNA, you will have the RNA. RNA constitute around 10%, or you can say 5 to 10% of the chromatin in the form, the RNA, they remain in the form of rRNA, ribosomal RNA, mRNA, messenger RNA, or tRNA, transport RNA, right? Moreover, the protein is present in the chromatin. So protein, it constitutes around 55 to 60%. So basically the most commonly occurring protein, it is the histone protein. So you should know that the histone, it is a basic protein, first of all, right? So it constitutes around 60% of the total protein of the chromatin, and almost it have a ratio of 1:1 with the DNA. So we have basically 5 different types of the histone proteins. These types are actually H1, H2A, H2B, H3 and H4. Moreover, we have the non-histone protein also. They constitute around 20% of the total chromatin protein. So what are the non-histone proteins? So first of all, it is the NAP. NAP is nothing but it is the nucleosomal assembly protein, and other histone chaperones and chromosome remodeling complexes. So these are the non-histone protein, right? Apart from that, they also have the structural protein in the chromatin. The structural proteins generally have, for example, you can have the actin, the myosin, the L and B tubulin. These are actually the contractile protein. They function during the chromosome condensation and in the movement of the chromosome actually, right? And all enzymes which are involved in the process of the cell division. So apart from the enzyme, you will also have the cofactors right, which are also a protein in nature, which involved in the replication, transcription, as well as in the regulation, right? Now, the concept of bead on a string. So hopefully the girls, if you are listening to this video, do you know you have seen the pearl necklace? So if I take the example of the pearl necklace, in the pearl necklace you will find a pearl, they are on a string, right? This string, it is nothing but it is the linker DNA, and these beads, the beads are the pearls. So beads, they represent here the histone proteins. So if we see the structure, it is like that. So these are the beads and this is the string, right? So if we see this structure, the beads on a string structure, it is the primary level of DNA packing. It is the basic level of DNA packing, how the DNA is packed within the cell, right? Moreover, this structure, it is always considered the size of the structure as 11 nanometer. From here to here, from the top to the bottom, this size of the string, it is 11 nanometer, right? Moreover, the diameter of the bead, it is also 11 nanometer, because if we consider it as a one string, right? The beads are generally made of the histone, as I have already told you. Now you see the histone, I already told you that they are basic in nature, thus they have a positive charge. Moreover, the histone, they are rich with the amino acid, basically the arginine and the lysine. So regarding the classes, we have already discussed there are 5 important classes, and the amino acid sequence of H3 and H4. You should know that the amino acid sequence of H3 and H4 histone, it is highly conserved in the mammals. Along with that, the histones and the DNA, along with the NAP, we have already discussed what is NAP. They form a condensed structure, and this condensed structure, I repeat, histone and DNA along with NAP, they will form a condensed structure. This structure, it is known as the nucleosome, and nucleosome, it is considered as the fundamental structure of the chromosome actually, or you can say the chromatin. And the highly basic nature of the histone, what it helps, as the histone, it is highly basic. Apart from facilitating the DNA histone interaction, the DNA histone interaction, the basic nature of this histone will facilitate the interaction between the DNA and the histone. Moreover, this basic nature, as it is having a positive charge, it will also contribute to its water solubility. As it becomes the polar molecule, so it will help in the water solubility, right? Apart from that, you should know that the H1, where it is found. See, H1 is present in half amount of other 4 histones. So here you are having other 4, H2A, H2B, H3 and H4. In every of them, in half amount, it is constituted by H1 only, right? So now histones. So let's have basic discussion on histones. So it is considered that a 147 base pair segment of DNA, it wraps around the histone octamer. Number of time it wraps, it is considered as 1.65, means more than one times it gets wrapped. Suppose a string is there, a ball is there. If you wrap the string around the ball, I am showing you in this similar way that this DNA, it will wrap around the histone octamer, and the number of times it is more than one time, means 1.65 times, right? Moreover, see, each nucleosome particles, they are separated from each other. These nucleosome particles, they are separated from each other by linker DNA. We have already shown you the linker DNA. The linker DNA, it acts as a string, right, which can be fewer nucleotide up to 80. So in between them, you will have nucleotide up to 80, right? Now the term nucleosome, it refers to the nucleosome core particle plus an adjacent linker DNA. So nucleosome means the nucleosome core particle, means the, already we have discussed what is nucleosome core particle along with a linker DNA. So on an average, the nucleosome repeats at the interval of around 200 nucleotides. So you remember this term 200 nucleotide. They are going to, at a interval of 200 nucleotide, the nucleosome are going to repeat in the string, right? So it is now revealed by the scientists that a diploid human cell, it contains around 30 million of the nucleotides. So now let's see the nucleosomal assembly, how it is assembled. So this is the nucleosomal assembly. So here first of all you see the histones, they are predominantly basic in nature, right? But apart from being basic and acidic in nature, the histone, they also act as hydrophobic. Earlier we have considered due to this basic nature they are hydrophilic, right? They are water soluble, but they also contain the hydrophobic as well as acid patches in their structure. Now see, they repel each other at the physiological pH. At the physiological pH 7.4 pH, they will repel each other and form non-nucleosomal aggregates with the DNA because of these acid patches, right? So it is considered as this particular thing, the histone chaperones. This histone chaperones actually it prevents this non-specific interaction, and it can also direct the productive assembly and de-assembly of the nucleosome by facilitating the histone deposition and exchange. Here I can see this how this histone chaperones, it helps in the assembly as well as in the, here you can see the assembly as well as de-assembly, and it facilitates the histone deposition and exchange. Now let's study the structure of the chromosome, or you can say chromatin. So see, the chromatin proteins, it is subdivided into histone and non-histone. We have already discussed regarding that thing, right? Now you see, the histones, they are very high, they have a high amount of the lysine and arginine, right? Approximately 20 to 30%. Moreover, the amino acid sequences, it very conserved between the species. So species to species, the amino acid sequence, it varies, because for human the amino acid sequence will be different, for other members the sequence will be different. So it is very conserved, they do not mix up, right? Now chromatin structure and nucleosome. So let's have some discussion on this. So it has been found that actually the nucleus studies, they have revealed that the most sensitive sites on the DNA in the chromatin to be spaced at a multiples of about 200 base pair, regarding which we have already discussed earlier, right? The space between the nucleosome, it is 200 base pair. Moreover, the histone like H2A, H2B, H3 and H4, they could interact to form tetramer, or sometimes they can form octamer. Tetramer means they will interact with one another forming a 4 conjugated structure, or they can form octamer, 8 conjugated structure. The octamer of 2 each of, they will form octamer of 2 each. So 2 molecules of each of H2A, H2B, H3 and H4. 2 molecules from this 4 histone will form the octamer, right? And about 147 base pair of DNA, it wrapped around the histone core particle. We have already discussed regarding this thing. And the linker between the core particles gives the total of about 200 base pair per nucleosome. Regarding this thing also we have studied. Now histone H1, it is on the outside at the point of the DNA entry as well as exit to the core particle. I repeat, the histone H1, it is at the outside at the point of DNA entry or DNA exit to the core particle, right? So human, they have around 25 million of nucleosome per cell, right? Now if we see the DNA condensation level, you see the DNA duplex 2 nanometer in diameter, the size. So here you can see the DNA size. This is the 2 nanometer, right? You can see here, while I am going through this slide, you can see the size, right? Now you see the nucleosome string is about 11 nanometer in diameter. We have already discussed, right? So it is going to form 11 nanometer. Now afterward, what will happen? The nucleosome, they will form coiled solenoid like structure. This is the solenoid structure. So its size is around 30 nanometer, the diameter of this solenoid. Then further condensation, it will lead to the 700 nanometer fibers, it will form, and it will further condense to form a sorry, from the 30 it will form a 300 nanometer coil fiber, then it will again fold to form a 700 nm or nanometer fiber that forms the chromatid in the meiosis as well as in the mitosis. So this is the structure. This is the 700 nanometer structure. This is the 300 nanometer structure. So this is the loop domain actually, what I have already told you, right? So level of DNA condensation, again I am telling you DNA, then form 11 nanometer fiber, then you will form 30 nanometer, then 300, then finally you will get the 700. So let's have a discussion on the eukaryotic genome. So the eukaryotic genome, they have some highly repetitive units. These units, they generally comes very frequently. They repeats of around 14 to 500 base pair, and the size of the repeats, or you can say highly repetitive units. First example, it is the mini satellites, right? The mini satellites, they repeat of 14 to 500 base pair, and the size of the mini satellite, it is around 1 to 5 kb. They are long, right? They are scattered throughout the genome. Moreover, apart from the mini satellite, you have one more highly repetitive unit, which is known as the microsatellite. They repeats up to 13 base pair. The size is 100s of kb long. Moreover, they have 106 copy. They are found around the centromere. They are found near the telomere. Even short repeat, they have some short repeat structure of 6 base pair, and about 250 to 1000 at the end of chromosome. They are generally found. These microsatellites you can find. Moreover, the eukaryotic genome has some moderately repetitive unit. Means throughout the genome, these are the mini satellites and microsatellites are highly repetitive. They are come very frequently, but some moderately repetitive units are there, which are actually the functional one. These functional, they codes the protein as well as tRNA coding, and moreover they have some unknown function. Apart from that, these are generally divided into sign and line. This sign, they are known as the short interspersed elements, and line, it is the long interspersed elements. So they are, the size of the sign, it is around 200 to 300 base pair. They have around 1 lakhs of copy, whereas the lines, they have the size of around 1 to 5 kb, and they have around 10 to 10,000 copies, right? So now let's see the types of DNA repeat. First of all, you see here the perfect repeat versus degenerative repeat. So here I am showing you the perfect repeat first versus the degenerative repeat. The first one, it is a tandem repeats. So example, tandem repeats, example, it is your satellite DNA. So these are the, you see, these are the tandem repeats. They are repeating A, T, G, T, right? They are repeating. These are the satellite DNA actually. Here you will see the inverted repeat. See here, these are the inverted repeat. These are the inverted repeat. Apart from that, they form stem loop-like structure sometimes, like this. This is known as a loop structure. When you will perform the PCR, the end product, if you allow it to go through the agarose gel electrophoresis, you will find this type of products due to their sizes. They may form loop stem structure, or sometimes they may form the hairpin structure, right? Now there is one more concept. This is known as the mobile DNA. So what is mobile DNA? Mobile means moving, right? So they move, this mobile DNA, they move with the genome, right? Most of these moderately repeated DNA sequences are found throughout the higher eukaryotic genomes. It is very common. Mobile DNA are very common in the higher eukaryotic genomes. They have two different parts. One is the L1 line, which is approximately 5% of the human DNA. They have around 50,000 copies. The next one is the ALU line. So ALU is also considered about approximately 5%. So it is having less than 5 lakhs of copies. So some encode the enzyme that catalyze the movement. So this is the part. Apart from that, you are going to have the transposition. So the movement of the mobile DNA, it is, so this transposition, it involves copying of the mobile DNA element and insertion into a new site in the genome. So these are something which are from the core of the molecular biology, right? Now regarding the LTR. So what is LTR? LTR, it represents a long terminal repeat. So here I can show you in the structure of the chromosome. This is LTR, this is LTR. So LTR, these are also considered as a flank viral retrotranspositions or retroviruses. They have this LTR. Now this LTR actually they contain the regulatory sequences. So the regulatory sequences means the sequence which will regulate the process of transcription. So this LTR maybe either you can find in the start site. Here the LTR are found in the start site. I am showing the figure, as well as you can find them in the poly A tails. This is the end tail, right? Now lines and signs. See, the non-viral retrotransposon RNA, they actually have the size of intermediate size, and this actually they lack the LTR, right? The non-viral retrotransposon RNA. Moreover, the lines, we have already discussed regarding the lines. The lines, they constitute around 6,000 to 7,000 base pair. L1 line, we have already discussed, they constitute around 5% of the human DNA, and they encode the enzyme that catalyzes the movement during the process of cell division. Then you are having the signs. The signs, they have generally 300 base pair, and for signs you have ALU, that is around 5% of the human DNA. Now regarding the eukaryotic genome. So you see they are located, if we go into the eukaryotic genome, let's have some basic idea. See, these are located on the several chromosomes. We have 23 pairs of chromosome in our body, right? So they are, this genome, they are located in the several chromosome, right? Relatively they have low gene density. The gene density in the chromosome or in the genome in the eukaryotes, it is very less. So around 50 genes per millimeter of DNA in humans it is found, right? Moreover, see, the contour length of the DNA from a single human cell is about only 2 meters, right? So now if you see if the contour length of the DNA from a single cell is 2 meters, what will be the total size? Just see, approximately there are, suppose 1011 cell, suppose different type of cell, the total length will be 2 meter into 1011 kilometer. So what will be the size? This is the size between the sun and earth, 1.5 into 108 kilometer, right? So you see what is the length of the genome you are taking within the cell. So now the human chromosome, see, they vary in the length over a 25-fold range, right? So regarding the size, we are going to discuss in the coming slide. Moreover, they carry the organelle genome as well. The eukaryotic genome, apart from having genes in the nucleus, they also have organelle genomes. So where they are found in the human, apart from the nucleus, the genes are also found or has been reported to found in the mitochondria, and in the plants it is also found in the chloroplast. So see, the mitochondrial genome, they are also regarded as the empty DNA. Empty stands for the mitochondria, right? So they are actually multiple identical circular chromosome. First of all, regarding the size of the mitochondrial genome or mitochondrial DNA, it is equivalent to 15 kb in animals, and over 95% of the mitochondrial proteins are encoded in the nuclear genome. You should remember that 95% of the mitochondrial proteins, they are encoded in the nuclear genome, not in the mitochondria. Moreover, this mitochondrial genome, they are rich with A and T, and this mitochondrial DNA, it replicates before, or sometimes you can say during the time of mitosis in a cell. And regarding the chloroplast genome, in the plants, these are multiple circular molecules. Their size ranges from 120 kb to 160 kb. Kb is the kilobyte, and similar to the they are quite similar to the mitochondrial DNA, and many chloroplast proteins, they encoded in the nucleus. So they have separate signal sequence in the plants, right? Now the chromosome organization, you see eukaryotic chromosome organization. So how the chromosome they are organized? First of all, you are having two end telomere. These two are telomere. Then you are having a short arm, which is known as the P arm. In between you are having a centromere, and you are having a long arm, which is the Q arm. So what is the centromere? So you see the centromere, The DNA sequence that serve as an attachment for protein during the time of mitosis. So centromere, it is a DNA sequence and it acts as a site of attachment for protein during the time of mitosis. The size of the centromere in the yeast, it is just 130 nucleotides and it is rich with A and T. And in the higher eukaryotes like in mammals or human, the centromeres are much longer and they also contain the satellite DNA. Regarding satellite DNA, we have already discussed regarding their size and repetitive nature. Now regarding the telomere. So what are the telomere? They actually at the end of the chromosome, they are found at the end of the chromosome, right? They help to stabilize the chromosome, right? The size in the yeast, the size is about 100 base pair long. And in the yeast, it is generally they have imperfect repeats. And the repeats of the sequence, of the nucleotide sequence, it is actually added by specific telomerase, right? Now you see gene. So everybody is talking about gene. What is gene? What is gene? What is gene? Right. So basically we have 4 definitions of gene. The first definition of the gene, it is the classical definition. As per the classical definition, gene is considered as a portion of the DNA that determines a single character. Single character means the phenotype, which you can see visually, right? According to the next definition, which has been given by the Biddle and Tatum in the year 1940, that is one gene, one enzyme concept. Means as per them, one gene will encode the information for one enzyme in the organism, right? The third concept of gene is that one gene, one protein. Means one gene will constitute one protein, which is generally considered as a structural protein on the gene. Or you can say one polypeptide, one gene or one polypeptide. The latest definition, or you can say the current definition, is that gene, it is a piece of DNA or in some cases RNA that contains the primary sequence. It will have the sequence to produce functional biological gene product. So what are functional biological gene product? The gene product may be a RNA or may be a protein. So here I am showing you. You just see here. This is the DNA. This is the sequence of the DNA. These are the nucleotide sequence, right? So once it will go to the mRNA, A, for A in the DNA you are going to have the T, right? For in the RNA you are going to have the U because T is not found there, right? So here for A you are going to have 3U or uracil. Here GCT you are going to have for RNA CGA, right? For ACC you are going to have UGC, like this only. So now you see the sequence here. Now see, once the sequence has been formed in the mRNA, now this sequence will constitute amino acid, right? The amino acid for UUU, it is the phenylalanine. For CGA, it is the arginine. For UGC, it is the tryptophan. For AUA, it is the isoleucine. For A, this is the alanine. Similarly in this way, right? So this is the coding of the human. From the DNA, it will get transcribed into the RNA. From the RNA, finally you are going to have the protein. That is the translation process takes place. Regarding this, we are going to study further. Now you see non-coding region. So the regulatory region, actually the non-coding region, they are considered as the regulatory regions. They have the RNA polymerase binding site. Moreover, transcription factor binding site, the non-coding regions they have, and introns. I repeat, introns. Don't get confused. The introns, they are the non-coding part of the chromosome, right? And moreover, they have the polyatrials, which is also known as polyadenylation. This is the stop codon. You can say polyatrial, from where the no more coding is done for the preparation, or you can say manufacture of the amino acid, right? Now eukaryotic gene, you see they mostly have the introns, and these introns, these are functionless because the introns, they never code for any proteins, right? They produce actually the monocystonic mRNA, only one encoded protein, and they are large. The eukaryotic genes, they are large in size. So now what is alternative splicing? So this cell, the eukaryotic cell, they perform alternative splicing for effective functioning. What they will do in the alternative splicing, they will just remove the introns from them, right? So splicing is the removal of the introns. Simply, the mRNA from several genes can be spliced into 2 or more different mRNA. They'll just remove the introns and they'll just have the exon, because this exon, they are going to give you the effective protein or other thing, means the effective translation. Now you see one more thing is that it is the RNA and the DNA intermediate. Now you know that the DNA they converted into RNA, and sometimes the RNA they also get converted into the DNA. So how they are getting converted into one or other form, you see here the transposon. This is the transposon region, right? It moves using the DNA intermediate, whereas the retrotransposon it moves using the RNA intermediate. So here this is the transposon region, so it is the DNA, donor DNA, so it can form the flanking DNA, it can form the DNA intermediate, and finally it leads to the mobile DNA, or formation of the mobile DNA, right? And retrotransposon, for retrovirus, what it will do from here, it will, with the help of the enzyme RNA polymerase, it will form the RNA intermediate. This is for the viruses, RNA viruses, right? They will have one more set of enzyme. This is known as the reverse transcriptase. I hope you people know regarding the reverse transcriptase. So this reverse transcriptase finally convert this RNA again into the DNA. So this concept it is also used in the PCR to synthesize the cDNA, or you can say the complementary DNA. So genetic variation. So first of all, see the variable number tandem repeats are there, and these are known as the satellite DNA. Right, 10 to 100 BP in size, right? This genetic variation, it is the satellite DNA, size is 10 to 100 BP, and this is actually applied or used in the forensic application, as I already told you regarding the use of this particular genetic material in the PCR technology, right? Apart from that, you have short tandem repeat polymorphism, which are also known as the microsatellites. They are having the size of 2 to 5 base pair with the 10 to 30 consecutive copies within them. Then you are having the SNP. This SNP, it is known as the single nucleotide polymorphism. The size it is already given there. Now the types, the SNP, they are of basically 3 types. First of all, it is the silent one. Sometimes they are the truncating one, and sometimes they may be the shifting one. And significance it is that much of the individual variation, the SNP they vary from different to different individuals. So SNP they are used to see the drug response in different persons, or drug response in case of different genetic diseases also, and they become a challenge for correlation with disease in the application with the molecular biotechnology. So the last part we are concluding, it is the finally the human genome, the general information. See here I am showing you the karyotyping, means study of the chromosome. So here from 1 to this 22, in these are a pair, right? X and Y. So all the size of the chromosome they are shown here, right? So let's start. The genetic material in the DNA it is stored in 2 organelles. First of all, first it is stored in the nucleus. Amount of the storage material it is 3200 megabase pair, right? And in the mitochondria it is just 16.6 kilobase pair or kilobytes, right? Then the thing is that you should know that the size of the chromosomes, the size of the chromosome here you can see they are not equal. The biggest size of the chromosome it is of the chromosome number 1, whereas the smallest size it is of chromosome number 21. You should remember that. To chromosome number 1 it is the biggest chromosome, whereas chromosome number 21 it is the smallest chromosome, right? And only if very small amount of the human DNA is responsible for the difference among the humans, indeed among all the organisms. So I repeat, only a small amount of the human DNA is responsible for difference among the humans. So whenever I say that you look like your parents, this phenotype of yours means the look-alike property of yours, it is contributed by only very small amount of the genetic material, or you can say DNA. So this is all from my side. So thank you everyone for your patience hearing. If you like the video, just press the like icon. You can share this video with your colleagues and classmates. Moreover, for further notification from this channel, you can press the bell icon. Thank you once again.